Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastuma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Why from Satya, which is real, appears Mithya, which is unreal, not real? Why does Mithya appear from Satyam? What for? It's a good question. Mithya means that for which there is no answer to the question why or what. It says appears Mithya. See, what it is we experience this universe, and how do we explain what we experience? So, we should know what is the reality of what we experience, what's the reality of the experiencer. Then only we can relate to the things properly. When I relate to you, I should know who I am relating to. Is it not so? First of all, my mind has to determine who it is or what it is to which I am relating. Then my strategy is ready in my mind. When someone makes a phone call, first question I ask, who is speaking? Why do you need to know that? When you start talking, you cannot. Who is speaking? Now, in India, people don't reveal this. Who are you? Who is speaking? Sometimes that goes on, Each one asks, who is speaking? I will not tell you who I am until you tell me who, But we do not know what to say unless we know who we are interacting with, because that's what determines. Who am I interacting with determines how I interact with. In our earlier ashram, we had a manager who would always be howling, and make a phone call. He would start that way. Calm down, all of a sudden, yes sir, then we know there is a trustee at the other end. So how your whole behavior, everything changes depending upon who is at the other end. In short, the point is that we should know what it is that we are interacting with. We are constantly interacting with the world, which consists of people, things and beings, names and forms. And unless we know it for what it is, what we do may not be right. For example, I take the world to be real. Means exactly as it appears to be. That's the reason why what you do has an impact upon me. When you say something pleasing to me, then I'm happy. Say something displeasing to me, I'm unhappy. Thus, my reaction to the interaction of the world is happiness, unhappiness, because you are real as you are, and what you do or what you say also is real. If I knew that it is mithya, just an appearance, then perhaps I may take differently, what you tell me or what you do to me. I know it's an appearance, not a reality. In that case, my response will be different. Looking at my reflection, my response is one kind, looking at another person. So if I know that world is mithya, suppose I knew, and that became embedded into me, that it is an appearance, not a reality. That means whatever the world does is not a reality, just an appearance. I don't take it seriously. Mithya I don't take seriously. Satyam I take seriously. Right now I take everything seriously, therefore I am affected by whatever is done to me. Because it's all real. If it is mithya, just an appearance, then my response or reaction will be different. All the problems will be solved. Because the manam, honor also is mithya, dishonor also is mithya. Respect also is mithya, disrespect also is mithya. Right now honor is satyam, therefore I feel happy when somebody honors me. Dishonor also is satyam, so I feel unhappy. So because I take the world to be real, I keep reacting with happiness, unhappiness, harsha, shoka. Raga, dvesha. Raga, dvesha can be there only for a real thing. When I know that I am looking at the mirror and I am looking at my reflection, which may be distorted because the mirror is distorted, I don't have dvesha for that. I know it's not real. I laugh at it. When I look ugly or funny in a concave mirror, convex mirror, in Ahmedabad there is a children's place, park. There is a room with a different kind of mirrors. A big concave mirror, a big convex mirror, one mirror shows you like this, some mirror shows you like that. Oh wow, what happened to me all of a sudden? I should start dieting. I don't, respond that way. I know I enjoy, it's fun. When I know that what I am looking at is not real. If it was real, then I would start worrying of dieting, I become so fat. So knowing the reality of what I am interacting with is very important. Therefore, that the world is mithya is something that because we are dealing with the world. And therefore it is important that we know what it is. Right now we take everything to be real. And therefore it has a different impact upon me as compared to if I was sure that it is all mithya, it would have a different impact upon me. Therefore knowing the reality of what I am interacting with is important. So, but why? We have no answer to the question why. Science does not answer the question why. Why is the law of gravity? Is there an answer to that? Why are things what they are? No, they answer the question what, not why. Similarly, Vedanta answers the question what, not why. Notice why should mithya come from satyam? That's what it is. I guess that's what Ishvara willed. So that they try to explain this. How did the universe says, why, what is Satya from there, why should the universe come? So they tell you a story. The beginning of creation, so kamayata bahusyam prajaya. That Ishvara desire, may I become many, may I be born, may I become many. Ishvara and desire, etc. doesn't quite make sense, does it? So kamayata. Who is saha? Satyam jnanam anantam brahma. So in the Taittiriya Upanishad first, I know. He may not know that was recording, So some story is being told that Ishvara in the beginning of creation desired that may I be born, may I become many, may I create the universe. Because how do you explain? Why is the creation? There is no answer. What is the creation is what Vedanta answers. That it is mithya. And the purpose of telling all the stories is only that. Different Upanishads tell the stories in different ways. The story of creation is being told in different ways and you wonder, where is consistency? Upanishad is supposed to be consistent. And we do not find consistency in the way the creation is described. So why is it so? Why does one Upanishad describe 5 elements, another describes 3 elements, one describes that it all came from Pranan and Shraddhan and some different sequences are described. So Bada Swami counted 44 kinds of descriptions of creation. He may have gone to 108 Upanishads, I guess, Because they don't seem to take it seriously. They do not seem to take the description of creation seriously because they do not want us also to take it seriously, I guess. And the only purpose of describing creation is to make us understand that it is mithya. The purpose of describing creation is to make us understand what is this Brahman. And therefore, if what is Brahman, one without a second, without any attributes, then what about all these attributes and what about all this multiplicity? If Brahman is the only reality, one without a second, and in its essential nature is devoid of all attributes, names, forms, then how do you explain all the names and forms and attributes? Only way is it's just an appearance, not a reality. And I guess our life is meant for us to discover this. Dve vidye veditavye itihasma brahma vido vadanti parachaiva aparacha. Mundakopanishad says that there are 2 vidyas or 2 forms of knowledge that we should gain in our life. One is aparavidya, other is paravidya. Aparavidya, the knowledge, not inferior knowledge, knowledge of the inferior. And paravidya, knowledge of the superior. Inferior means the world. So that also we should veditavye. We should know the universe also to recognize that it is mithya, so that we have vairagya. This mithyatva nischaya can create real vairagya because then you don't expect anything from that. So therefore we should understand the universe also. Not how many grains of sand there are and how many hairs is on my head, not that way. But what's the reality of the universe? That we should know. And so, here question is why from Satya, which is real, appears Mithya, which is not real. What for? Lokavattu Leela Kaivalyam. There is one sutra in Brahma Sutra. Lokavattu Leela Kaivalyam. Leela. Just as sometimes king also desires, to change his attire and play some roles, some drama. It is king's free will or fancy that I want to play it, as a beggar or something like that. You can't say why. Why should he act as a beggar? His will? His fancy, not will. So why this universe? Fancy. Because after all, it is just a role. If king became the beggar, then the question why would be appropriate. Why did he become beggar? But he just appeared as a beggar. For appearance, there is no why. This question is discussed in Vedanta. What is the reason why the rope appears as a snake? You know? What is the reason why? They say, why does the shell appear as silver? This is their example. But you can similarly ask, what's the reason why the rope appears as a snake? Various explanations are given. So coming back to shell and the silver, somebody says the silver that you are seeing there is silver which is in a jeweler's shop. That's the silver there you are seeing here. Somebody says the silver which is in your mind is what you are seeing there. Somebody says silver that does not exist that you are seeing, you know. So they come up with various explanations. That's all my thing, you know. But no explanation fits. There is no explanation as to why a shell appears as silver. Vedantin says, anirvachaniyam, that which cannot be said to be so and so, which you cannot answer why, you cannot answer why shell appears as silver or rope appears as snake. Or why is there Brahma or delusion? Ignorance. So why is the world there? Why did Ishvara create the world? Moment you assign a cause, there is a problem. So many explanations are given. And Mandukya Karika also gives some explanations, you know. Then ultimately he says, why? Devasya svabhavayam atmakamasya kaspruha. This is just a svabhava. Devata means Ishvara svabhava. Why is fancy that appears as his world? Atmakamasya kaspruha. Ishvara is aptakama, meaning he is free from all desires, he is full and complete. Therefore there can be no reason why he should do anything. Devasya svabhavayam. It is Ishvara's nature, just his fancy to appear as the world, just as king's fancy to play as a beggar. This great Vedanta has no answer to this question, by the way. Why? So there's this skirt around. And answer like this. Anirvachaniyam. Something that cannot be described as such and such. Cannot be categorized as such and such. So why does rope appear as a snake? Vedantin is very smart. He says no explanation. Other people pride in themselves, like the Nayayikas, they think that we can answer we can define everything. Their job is to give lakshana, meaning give the essential characteristics. Anything they'll define very accurately. There may be long definition. Vedantin says you cannot define anything. Because all definitions are given taking the world as such. That's a problem with all other people. The Vaisheshikas, Nayayikas, Sankhya, all of them give wonderful explanations of the universe. They categorize it in so many categories, so many elements, things like that. But all of that is assuming that the universe is real. That's the reason why no explanation really works well. Because the basic assumption is wrong. What's the basic assumption? Universe is real. And then you give very, intellectual answers and definitions. Basic assumption is wrong. Vedanta says you can't define anything. You can say from this standpoint is like this and from that standpoint is like this. In the Jain Siddhanta there is a Syadvada. Syad. If you look at it this way, it's like this. From that way, it's like this. From this way, it is like this. Meaning that nothing actually lends itself to a definition. Which is right for Vedanta and is mithya. So they think you can't define, you cannot. Because mithya, that is mithya which cannot be defined as such and such. But rest of them take the world as real and then come with this kind of explanations. Vedanta is mithya. Why? No answer. Otherwise it will become satyam. If there is an answer as to why, then it becomes real. So the Vedantic teachers say that the Vedantin cannot explain what the world is not a dushanam, it's a bhushanam. Meaning that it is not a defect, it is an ornament that we cannot explain. We do not pride ourselves in explaining what the world is. Because it's mithya. So even Vedantian also say, sorry, we cannot explain. The question is, what for? Why from Satya, which is real, appears mithya, which is not real? That is called appearance, Appearance has no reason. Why does roe appear as snake? No reason. Why does shell appear as silver? No reason. Why does Brahman appear as Jagat? No reason. So, even the great Karikakara says, Gaudapadacharya, Devasya Svabhavayam. It's just the nature of Ishvara, just to appear as a word. Atmakamasya kaspruha. What desire can he have? Because he is all full and complete. And so it is just his nature. It's fancy to appear as a word. No answer to the question, why? And so ultimately, nothing in the universe can be no why. You cannot give an ultimate answer. You can give a temporary why because of this, why because of that, why because of that. Ultimately, the whole universe is characterized by what they call the dosha, means a defect, as the Nayayika would say. Either why is it so? Because that is so. Why that is so? Because this is so. It's called Anyanya Ashraya. Why is it so? Because that is so. Why is that so? Because that is so. Why that is so? Because this is called Chakratmaka. Why is it so? Because that is so. Why that is so? Because that is so. Why that then? That is what got the infinite regression. Anavastha dosha. Why it is so? Because you are like that. Atma Ashraya. Some kind of defect will be there in trying to explain anything. I don't know whether you thought about it or not, but then that is why don't scratch your head much about giving why. Why, and we want to know the answer why something happened. Why did you say this? So you want to come to a conclusion who is fault, who is guilty? Who is at fault? This is guilty. Well, of course, a judge has to do that to announce. But that is based on a limited data, is it not so? Just think that he has all the data. That this fellow did this to him or whatever, and then that's why. based on all the evidence that he has. His evidence for what? From this lifespan. Does he have the knowledge of what the previous life, what this fellow had done to this step earlier? Did you know that? If you want to give justice, you should take everything into account. Is it not so? Of course, that way court cannot work, so they have to have some boundaries. But really speaking, why did this fellow steal? Why did this fellow hurt? You can give it a conditional answer. There cannot be an unconditional answer as to why. Because that's what this fellow did in the previous life. Suppose somebody says, because we have only data of this lifespan. So don't take things too seriously. Don't arrive at a final conclusion, this is that alone and this fellow is only guilty. That is, maybe for the sake of vyavahara you may have to say that, but why did this person do this? Based on limited data that we have, not knowing what this fellow had done to this one earlier. I don't know why I'm saying all of this. What I'm saying is that's called mithya, that you cannot arrive at any conclusion. Confusing you further, So, does it answer the question? That's what you should do. You confuse the questioner,
Then the question vanishes.
Question vanishes. The standard questions are always about prarabdha and the purushartha. So if prarabdha karma is already fixed, being that we are born with destiny, this body is the result of the past karma and we are born with destiny, meaning the result of the karma that we have performed in the past. So if prarabdha karma is already fixed and definite at the moment of birth, is it not that I am not the doer of anything and that there is nothing for me to do? That prarabdha is doing, I am not doing anything? That's a question, looks like. Is moksha already decided by my prarabdha and is inevitable, or is Brahma Vidya separate from it? Then there are two forces in our life, or two variables. One is prarabdha, other is purushartha. Prarabdha means destiny, you also have free will. Is it not so? Does human being have free will or not? Some people question that. There is no free will. If there is no free will, then there is no responsibility. This free will gives us responsibility. Those creatures who do not have free will have no responsibility. So if a dog keeps on barking, you can't hold it responsible. No court of law will take your case that this dog barked for the whole night, did not let me sleep or something. This is what they do anyway, but still. So as best as we understand, human beings have free will, meaning freedom to choose. Kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyatha vakar. Meaning, at any point I have a freedom to decide whether to do something, not to do it, or do it in the way I want to do it. We have a freedom of free will means freedom of choice. In every situation, because every situation calls for a response from me. And it calls for response from everybody, but other creatures' response is already determined. They are already programmed, so they don't have to worry about. Because when a cow sees grass, it will be gravitated towards that and sees a danda, then to get away from that. Standard example. But you see a danda, you may not run away from that. You look at the expression of that face. Looks like my friend just making a show. And if a person does not have a danda and look at his face and then you turn away. What I am saying is that we have thus freedom to choose what to do in a given situation, and that is called free will. Thus, at any moment there are all these two forces working, free will and destiny. So, Swami, what is destiny? What is free will? It is difficult to determine the dividing line between the free will and destiny. But Bada Swami gave a very nice definition. What you confront is destiny, and what you do is free will. What you confront is destiny, because you have not created that. How you respond is what you decide is free will. So it is not right that we only have prarabdha and that prarabdha alone determines my life now. Yes, prarabdha does have an important effect. Every situation is influenced by prarabdha. But at the same time, in every situation, I do have the freedom to decide what to do. Otherwise, you cannot be held liable for anything in court of law. As I said, they will not punish a camel. In Ahmedabad, we have a camel-drawn cart, Camel looks always up, never down. So it doesn't know what is red light, what is yellow light, what light is there. It may just walk. And still, they will not catch hold of this camel. The camel's owner will be perhaps, punished. Because camel doesn't have free will. The owner has the free will, and so he is held responsible. So we have a free will, and therefore we have responsibility. So prarabdha creates a situation, and we have the responsibility to display a right, appropriate response. That is the responsibility given to us. So freedom also is given, and freedom has to be accompanied with responsibility. Otherwise it becomes a license, no freedom. Like a dog becomes mad or something like that, And so man will become like that if he has no responsibility. But we are responsible, therefore we are held liable for a wrong conduct. So there is something right and wrong in our life. No right and wrong in the life of a dog or a cat, by the way. The right-wrong business is only for the human being. Because I can choose. And it's likely that I will make a wrong choice. And therefore there is something wrong and right for us, not for the rest of the world, which is already programmed, and we are not programmed to that extent. So it's not that prarabdha decides everything. And you can say there is no prarabdha, all there is purushartha. What is prarabdha today is the result of actions I performed in the past, is it not so? And that time I use my free will to perform that action. So what is prarabdha today was free will in the past, is it not so? No prarabdha, only free will. Or, Swami, why did you decide to do a given thing? In a given situation, why did I decide to do a given thing? My prarabdha, you can say. So prarabdha prompts me to do a certain thing. So then, is it prarabdha or free will? One of those questions. And you cannot define exactly where prarabdha ends, where free will begins. That does not mean that we don't have free will. That does not mean we have no responsibility. We have free will and we have responsibility, and therefore we are responsible for whatever we do, which is not the case with other creatures. So no, prarabdha does not decide. Prarabdha presents situation, then we decide what to do in that situation. The free will decides. If prarabdha decided, then we would not have any responsibility at all. My prarabdha did it. That's what my mind told me to do. That explanation will not work anywhere. Not with police, not in the court, nowhere will it work. Otherwise we can escape with that explanation. Chief says, it is my prarabdha which made me do this. Your prarabdha will take you to prison also, you can say. So no, it is not right that prarabdha decides our life and moksha. Moksha is purely result of the self-effort. I should say purely, it's a result of self-effort. Otherwise everybody will be liberated. Prarabdha decided, then everybody will be liberated. That's not so. Then Bhagavan cannot have that. He wants to continue his creation. People sometimes ask, Swami, if everybody got liberated, what will happen? I say, it's not likely to happen at all, because Ishvara, who has created the world, wants the world to continue. So he would not have this situation that everybody gets liberated. He will have enough number of people to continue the universe. That is in his interest, because when you create something, you want it to continue, isn't it? Ishvara has created the universe, so he wants to continue. That can happen only if there is ignorance. I mean, there is all this prarabdha, purushas and all that stuff, then only it can go on. So that's why Ishvara has made that arrangement. So don't worry, it won't come to an end. Don't worry, people will not get liberated like that, Is moksha already decided by my prarabdha? No. Yes, moksha is a possibility given to each one of us. It's a possibility. And it is our purushartha to make that possibility a reality. And also that is because each one of us loves moksha. In fact, if we analyze all our desires, we will find that the desire behind all the desires is only for moksha. Any desire ultimately is desire for some freedom. When does my mind desire something? When the mind feels in some way restricted, bound by something. That I don't know something, I don't have something, I have too much, whatever. So I want to become free. Too many things for me, I'm getting rid of them. I don't have enough, that's why I'm acquiring them. So whether I'm acquiring something, getting rid of something, whatever I do that as determined by my understanding of what bondage is and what freedom is, and therefore every moment whatever I do is motivated by desire of some kind of freedom. So that's all I want in my life, freedom. And freedom means happiness. You can say what we are seeking is happiness, You can say what you are seeking is freedom. Sarvam paravasham dukkham, sarvam atmavasham sukham. Sarvam paravasham dukkham. Manusmriti says that where there is paravashata, where there is dependence, it is dukkha. No, I don't see any insects there.
Buzzing bee around here.
In the wrong chair? So, Manusmriti says that what is dukkham? Paravashata is dukkham, dependence is dukkham. Sarvam atmavasham sukham, freedom is happiness. Happiness is freedom, dependence is unhappiness. So we are seeking, you can say, freedom, seeking happiness. That's the desire behind all the desires. So we all want moksha. That's all we want. We may not recognize what we want, therefore we want this, that and so on, because we do not know what exactly we want. Like a child doesn't know. He is crying. So mother thinks he is hungry. There is something problem in the stomach. He is crying and mother thinks he is hungry. So you can give some food and some more pain and more crying. So similarly wrongly diagnosing things. But what we want is simple freedom. That's all we want. Simple, unconditional freedom. That's called moksha. That's what we want. That's the possibility in our life. And therefore we should recognize what we want, number one. That what we want in our life is moksha. We think that we want this, that and so many other things. But then the desire behind every desire is for moksha. Sooner we recognize, better it becomes. Then we'll stop wasting time with many things. Right now we are spending time in fulfilling so many desires, thinking that will be all right. When this is done, I'll be all right. That's done, I'll be all right. I'll be all right. I'm all right also for a moment. Then I find that not quite, and something else. Then I feel all right, not quite. So sooner we recognize that what we need is moksha, unconditional freedom. And the second thing is that is already accomplished because it is my nature. And therefore the life should become a process of accomplishing what is already accomplished, not accomplishing the unaccomplished. So when the desire arises, it is something that we don't have, which we want, but then we should recognize that real desire is to accomplish what we already have. What we think we don't have, we already have. No, Swami, I know I want a new car. Do I already have? I want a new house. Do we already have? Not that way. But then why do you want a new car? I want it. Why? Oh, I'll enjoy it. So for happiness. Why a new house? Ultimately we find that the desire is a desire for happiness. And that you already have. So desire for house can be fulfilled, not desire for happiness. Desire for a car can be fulfilled, but not desire because that you already have. Swami used to tell in Imagine a story that this man performed penance, and God appeared before him. God says, what do you want? What can I give you? Oh Lord, give me a head over my shoulder. Say that again? Please give me a head over my shoulder. What? A head over your shoulder? I'm sorry, I cannot give you. I thought you're God. You can give anything. He said, that also I cannot give what you already have. So all kinds of desires we have for what we think we don't have. Because desire behind all desires is the desire for happiness, which we already have. So If you want a house because you need, so for our worldly needs, if you want something, is understandable. But if you need something for happiness, then it's not understandable. You need a car for transportation, is okay. You need a car so that I'll be happy. Now, that's not going to work. You need a house, that is quite understandable. But I'll be happy. How long? My new house, how long? 15 days, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months? I think now we need a new carpet. We need some curtains here. We need this change. We need that change. Soon they want to change something. They just built house after 5 years of effort, So the desire behind all desires is desire for happiness, and nothing can give me, that I have discovered from myself. And therefore, that is called moksha. So karma, then Vedanta doesn't bother about this karma, agami karma, this karma, that karma. We discuss about, that's all right, we could to answer questions. Vedanta has no interest in karma. Prarabdha karma, agami karma, this karma, all that accounting business is all right, but it's called accounting. Vedanta is not interested, it is interested in knowledge. So we entertain questions about karma, no doubt about that, but what's the extent the agami karma can modify, add, remove anything? My prarabdha. Basically, karma does not do anything, by the way. The one who performs karma is the one who decides, what he wants and what's going to happen. It's not karma that is doing something to me. It is I who desired something. See, karma, what is karma? Karma is an action performed by me to fulfill a given desire. So karma does not do, that desire is something that does. And who is the desirer? That is myself. Ultimately, you can't say karma does. What can karma do? Karma is given empowerment by the desire, and I was the one who desired. So if somebody is doing something to me, ultimately I am doing something to myself. Is not so? Now think about it. Okay. So that is the last question. Any other question? One is not a question, but one is a request, so that we'll try to fulfill. Brahman is aprameya. If that is the case, having pramana buddhi towards aptavakya, how will it help? Brahman is aprameya means immeasurable, meaning that no words can describe it. I guess that's what is meant here. Aprameya means that Brahman cannot be described in words. And the teacher and the Upanishads only communicate through words. So, how will knowledge take place? Brahman cannot be the meaning of any word, and the teacher and the scriptures only use words. So how can knowledge of Brahman can take place? I'm asking you. It is? Yes, it's your own self. It's my own self, but then even self also cannot be described in words, is it not so? Shabda Pramanam, right? So Shabda Pramanam means the Shabda should create knowledge. But Atma or Brahman cannot be the meaning of any Shabda. I know it's too late for a night, to discuss this kind of a thing.
They're just indicators.
They act as pointers. They act as pointers. Words act as pointers. They point out.
Pointers, yes. Well, the simple answer is that Vedanta is Pramanam, not in a conventional sense. It's called Pramanam. I don't know why is it called Pramanam, by the way. What is Pramanam? Pramanam, Pramakaranam, like eyes are a Pramanam for color. So what do the eyes do? Eyes illumine color. Is that right? It's not a complicated question. People are wondering, what to answer. So eyes are Pramanam because eyes illumine the color. A Pramanam reveals its relevant object. So eyes reveal the color. That eyes are the Pramanam for colors. Ears are Pramanam for words, sounds. So also Vedanta is Pramanam for Atma, is it not so? All right, I will reserve this for tomorrow's discussion, how Vedanta is Pramanam. In tomorrow's class, we will connect it in some way and never discuss this. Okay. So, tonight we'll take a break here and conclude with a bhajan. Om dhimiki dhimiki dhim, dhimiki dhimiki dhim, nache bholana. Om dhimiki Om dhimiki dhimiki dhim, dhimiki dhimiki dhim, nache bholana. नाचे भोलानाथ। नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ, ओम धिमिकी धिमिकी धिम, धिमिकी धिमिकी धिम, नाचे भोलानाथ। मृदंग बोले शिव 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 ओम, डमरू बोले हर 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 ओम, वीणा बोले हरि ओम हरि ओम, नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ, ओम धिमिकी धिमिकी धिम, धिमिकी धिमिकी धिम, नाचे भोलानाथ। ओम धिमिकी धिमिकी धिम, धिमिकी धिमिकी धिम, नाचे भोलानाथ। नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ। ओम धिमिकी धिमिकी धिम, धिमिकी धिमिकी धिम, नाचे भोलानाथ। मृदंग बोले शिव 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 ओम, डमरू बोले हर 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 ओम, वीणा बोले हरि ओम हरि ओम, नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ, नाचे भोलानाथ। ओम सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।